Bye.
And now, YouTube people, this is the weird bit. Hello and welcome back to the Everything F1 podcast. Joining me again for our British Grand Prix preview is James and Coops. Hi lads, how are you getting on?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Uh,
We are
just
Everything F1. You can check us out on all socials: Facebook, Instagram, X and Threads at Join EF1, and TikTok at EF1 Official. You can also check out our website, everythingf1.com, for daily news and articles, and head over to our fantastic sponsors, theraceworks.com, and use code EF1 at checkout for 10% off site wide. Thank you as always to them for their support. We are also still running our giveaway on YouTube. Head over to our YouTube channel, Everything F1, all one word, and hit subscribe. That's all you need to do. A lucky subscriber, when we hit 500, will be chosen to win a Lego F1 Speed Champions kit of their choice. You can hit the notification bell as well and get notified whenever we are going live, because we stream all of our podcasts live and we'd love to get you involved to share your thoughts over there. Now then, the British Grand Prix this weekend is a good one. Lads, it's not my home Grand Prix, but it's your home Grand Prix. Do we like it? Do we love it? Do we hate it? What are our thoughts in general on the British Grand Prix in Silverstone? James, I'll start with you.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Best weekend of the year. Not saying that just because it's the British Grand Prix, but I think it's a stalwart of the Formula One season. It consistently creates great action. The weather's always a little bit of a mystery. The atmosphere is always fantastic. Yeah, can't wait. It's always fantastic, the British Grand Prix. Proper circuit, do you know what I mean?
Yes, an old school circuit. I think it's one of the drivers' favorites, a proper driver circuit. Enough runoff, but also enough grass to be dangerous if you step too far out of line. Coops, you've been to Silverstone a couple of times yourself, have you not? Are you going this year as well?
no, I've been once and it was good. Uh, so
When
there's
did you
two.
go?
What was the year that Joe had the big accident?
2019, I
2022.
think. 2022.
2022.
I was
Uh,
way off there. Yeah.
so it was. I never got to the race, but it was kind of a last minute decision. So we done Friday, Saturday. Uh, I'm going to split this into two. One track, amazing, old school, pretty good. We've had some unbelievable moments. Mansell winning a good number of years back. Everyone invading the track and almost getting run over. Was it last year? Lewis Hamilton winning in Mercedes. That was. I'm not a mad Lewis fan for anyone who wants to at me. But that kind of caught me a wee bit just because it's Lewis and it's Silverstone and the Mercedes cars were a bit awful. And he came through to win it. You're like, of all the times to break your duck, it had to be there. Uh, so yeah, in that sort of sense, the bit I don't like is the pricing of it. I
Mm.
don't like the idea that they've done in the last couple of years now, where it's the dynamic pricing. For anyone who doesn't know, the longer the queue is to get tickets, the price goes up depending on demand. That's just should be outlawed. It's just
Yeah,
theft in my eyes.
outrageous. Yeah,
It's
outrageous.
horrendous. Uh, and to put it into perspective, I'm not going to the Silverstone Grand Prix this year. I'm going to Belgium, partly because of the cost of it. And now I live in Scotland, and it's not that far away. It's a fair drive, but it's not that far away. I mean, it's closer to me than Belgium is, and I'm still going to Belgium. Kind of puts you into perspective. So there's a
I
few
went to
things.
Qatar last year because Silverstone was too damn expensive, even though it is geographically closest to me by miles.
Yes,
If there's an Irish driver in Formula One next year, I think I would stump up
you
for
push
it
the ball
because
out for that.
it's
Yeah,
as close as I'm ever going to get to an Irish driver at a nearly home Grand Prix. Don't get angry, Irish fans, you know what I mean by that. But yeah, the pricing is insane, and it is in the back arse of nowhere, so you kind of
yeah.
have to camp or sleep in your car.
Yep, and we kind of went back and forth, and it was just expensive. And I know it's going to be expensive. I don't think Belgium's going to be that much cheaper. Merchandise and food and stuff's probably going to be pretty similar in Belgium. But the fact that I think someone tweeted that it's actually cheaper for them to get a grandstand ticket, accommodation, and flights or whatever it was to get to Hungary than it was to buy the not grandstand tickets, just entry for the
Yeah.
full 3 days at Silverstone. And they're from the UK. Now, the bosses at Silverstone need to look at this because the last couple of years Silverstone has not sold out. And it has sold out religiously for a number of years. Do you cut your prices to get more people in to then get get your money? Or do you keep doing this and pricing people out? Because, I mean, people are going to push the boat out and spend the next year and a half staring at a kidney to pay for it. There are going to be the people to do that.
Mm.
But it will eventually get to the point where instead of it being an every year thing, it might be, we do it this year, then we need to save for a couple of years, then we need to do it again. Or people will start realising en masse, why do I need to come here? I can go over to Belgium, and Belgium, as far as I know, never been before. I've heard it's a beautiful country. We're going on Wednesday. We're going to spend Thursday and exploring where we're staying and enjoying the sights, and then Morgan and I are doing the full 3 days, watching everything that's going on.
To put that
You
in
know,
context on the prices, I've just checked. There are still some available, like you said. General admission, 2 adults for the 3 days. Because if you couldn't do it like you would do any other race that you might fly away to, for 2 adults is £758, which meant nothing to me. So I converted it. That's €883. My grandstand tickets for Qatar were less than half that price for two of them. And my
Yeah.
grandstand tickets for Monza are the same price for grandstand tickets on the pit straight right under the podium, rather than
Mhm.
general admission where I'll have to murder someone to be able to actually see anything.
yeah, well, I mean, when we watched qualifying, we were general admission. So the way general admission worked the year I went to Silverstone, it's the Friday you got grandstand. It was kind of like if you can find a seat in the grandstand for Friday, crack on. I don't think they quite do it the same now. This is a thing
Mm-mm.
that adding prices and adding wee things and taking things away. But for watching the qualifying, we actually were next to the track and we were at the bit in qualifying where Max Verstappen had his spin. He spun right in front of us, which was really fun to see, pretty much. But we stood by the track watching the screen because it's general admission. If you want a good seat in general admission, a good view, you camp yourself there first thing in the morning and you stay there, literally, because we couldn't get close. Everyone had done the same thing. So grandstand ticket, we've got grandstand for for Belgium. We're not in like Eau Rouge or anything like that. But we found a seat that's grandstand. It's not covered, so we're going to have to make sure we've got a hat just in case it's too hot or it rains. But we're right by a telly, so we're going to get to see it, or a screen, I should say. So we're going to get to see the cars come through. Then we're going to be able to watch the race, see the cars come through. And it's
It's
this
just better.
price thing. It's just better. It's Belgium. It's
Yep.
classic. We're going to be at that track, and it's a sprint weekend as well. And I just don't understand Silverstone's logic. I
I
just
don't I
don't
don't understand
get
the
it.
pricing because it's the home of Formula One. That's not just a tagline. It is literally where Formula One started. It would sell out, and they've increased capacity year on year on year, particularly when they redid the track, whatever it was, 15 years ago. Um, that should be the cheapest race. It just should be. You can pay all you want for the hospitality and make camping out of it. I know they've turned it into like a mini Glastonbury with music acts and stuff like that and make it a camping festival. But that should be the cheapest race. It just should be. It would sell out. They'll get 300,000 people every single year, which is numbers that every other race could only gawk at. No other race can accommodate that many people. I think can Australia take like 100, 250 or something like that? But they'd comfortably clear 300,000 in Silverstone if they actually made it affordable.
Mm.
Um,
They don't even need to make it the cheapest. Just make it like just competitive. Just round
Yeah.
about the same. Look at some of the others, figure it out. I mean, they do this. It's the thing that infuriates me, not just the dynamic pricing. And dynamic pricing in general, I hate. I think Oasis did it for their tour. Ridiculous. And some other, who was that? Who's that pop artist? Oh, the one that kind of toured everywhere and billions of people watched. I can't remember her name. Really
for
famous one. Uh,
for
oh,
to make this official, right? The for average prices, the average ticket price for all the races, obviously that includes from general admission right up to grandstands and stuff like that. The cheapest is China at $199, and Hungary is second at $207. I've done Hungary. I did a general admission about 90 quid each for each ticket. Cheapest chips. To be there at 6 in the morning kind of sucked. If I did it again, I do grandstands. Qatar is low down. Qatar and Monza. are low down, 328 and 330. I did Qatar last year, no, Monza this year, much more affordable, and they're grandstand tickets. The most expensive is Vegas. Second most is Miami. Real fans are not going to either of them, so it
Nope.
doesn't really matter. Third most expensive is Mexico, which I find really surprising.
That is
Um,
surprising.
Fourth most, again, Monaco, which again, real fans do not go to Monaco. It's full of just celebrities. Britain is the fifth most expensive race. That is disgraceful.
What's the second most expensive? Because the other three are ones that, as normal people, you
Well,
just
yeah,
don't go to.
second most. Yeah, exactly. For
So,
normal people prices, it's the second most expensive. Mexico is a weird one. I find that very strange. It's so expensive,
yeah, I
but
suppose. I mean,
um,
I wouldn't, even if I won the lottery, I still wouldn't pay Vegas prices. I wouldn't go to America just now because of the other stuff. But,
it's the most expensive one in Europe by miles. The next cheapest
Mm.
one is so Britain, obviously average price $689. The next most expensive in Europe is Zandvoort at five. It's nearly 200 quid cheaper. And then Belgium is another 100 quid cheaper. And it's when you get to Imola, so under 400 quid is when you get into the real European races. So it's unacceptable. But let's move on from the prices. Obviously, the race is this weekend, Sunday 6, which is great at the Silverstone Circuit. 5.891 kilometers, 52 lap race, and delightfully for Mercedes, as we spoke about in our Austria preview, there is a good chance of light rain for qualifying and the race. This one should be a good one. Reminiscing on last year, Coops, as he mentioned, Lewis got his ninth win in Silverstone, which is insane. Broke his own record for most wins at a track, which he set in Silverstone, which is absolutely incredible. And I'm no Lewis fan either, but I welled up a little bit. Crofty's commentary, 8 times we've said it before. Here's a ninth for you. That was incredible. You could hear every single person at that track screaming. It was amazing. It's what Formula One is all about. And to be perfectly honest, I would absolutely love to see Lewis Hamilton win this weekend. I don't think he will. Um, but obviously, McLaren had their big strategy blunder when they didn't quite know how to win things. So, what can we expect this weekend? Who do we think is going to win? And are we going to get any surprises, Coops? Is that rain going to help or hinder certain people?
I just don't think it will. I mean, my if I want to be a fantasist and write a script at Hollywood, wouldn't believe Lewis Hamilton's going to somehow win it, because if he's going to win somewhere, it's going to have to be Silverstone.
Hmm.
But I just don't see how anyone can beat McLaren's. Now, if someone decides to do a better impression of Bottas than Antonelli did, and take a few more cars out, I mean, if you're going to do bowling, take at least two. Not just take yourself and one other one out. I mean, come on. Like, take one of the ones that are at the very front, so at least we can see somebody like Gasly or Ocon win something. Anyway, so unless there's an absolute disaster, and something gets taken out, and even in qualifying, even if the McLarens aren't quite at the top at qualifying, I think they'll come through in the race anyway, so they would have to be kind of retired or something would have to happen. I just can't see past the McLarens. I think they've more or less figured out how to do things right. Like the strategy call we discussed in the previous podcast about Austria. Piastri flat spots his tyre. Almost instantly, the race engineer says to Norris, "Get in the pits." And it was perfect. It was exactly what needed to be done, because Piastri then had to be forced to race for at least another lap with a flat spotted tyre that wasn't great. Wasn't going to lose a wee Ted here or there. Gave them that wee bit of breathing space. Last year's McLaren team wouldn't have done that, which they should have won Silverstone. They should have double stacked. They didn't double stack. They made an asset. It is what it is. This year's McLaren team, they know they're winning at least the constructors already. So they've relaxed, and sometimes if you just relax, things just are easier. And I just can't really see past them. I I think Norris has found something, and I think it's probably going to be another Norris weekend. I think it was almost perfection at Austria. If he can now come under his own crowd, which apparently, arguably, I think Alonso said that, or Vettel, one of the kind of greats from the past. basically said that your home crowd is worth at least 2 to 5 times. And I
Yeah.
just don't see Lando messing it up, really. Almost said a swear word, but I know I'm on YouTube. So
James, what about you? What do you think we can expect this weekend? Do you agree with Coops that Lando's found something? Is Oscar gonna bounce back in a robotic fashion, or are we gonna see something a little bit surprising with a bit of rain?
While listening to Coops, I was thinking long and hard about what I was going to say, and I agree. I think it's hard to look past McLaren at the moment because they have that sort of authority that Red Bull had over the last couple of years, where you think, without any prior experience, any prior context, what would you think? And you'd have to say default. The McLarens, the two drivers are on it, the car's the best, so why wouldn't they? I do think, I think the British Grand Prix always creates a bit of drama with the weather. I think Verstappen's always been good around Silverstone. It suits them the Red Bull a little bit more than Austria and things like that. And Lewis, I'd love to say he's going to win the race. To make it 10, that would be fantastic. But I think Coops is right. I think it does give it. We've seen it. It's given, the home race has given a couple tenths, and but I also then wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not really giving you an answer, but I'd also wouldn't be surprised if Piastri takes pole and wins the race because we said this when Lando brilliantly won Monaco, and then Piastri came back and took it in Spain. So I think it's going to be a fantastic race. I hope it's close. I can see the two McLarens driving off into the distance a little bit like they did in Austria. I hope it's a bit closer than that. The Ferraris get involved. And I'd love to see an all British the podium. That'd be fantastic. I don't know when the last time that happened. So I do think with Silverstone it would be very very much on line with the British Grand Prix that we've had a heat wave for 2.5 weeks. We get to Sunday and it's overcast, windy, starts to rain 20 laps like we saw last year, and we have a bit of a bonanza. That would be my ideal, I must admit. I think we can put the championship aside for a second. Potentially, obviously, I'd love Lando to win it, but I think Silverstone always throws something up, so it's really hard to predict. And I know I've pretty much said every single eventuality. I think Alonso's going to win. There we go. I'll end on that.
ladies and gentlemen, part of that answer was sponsored by Switzerland. If you wish to sit on the fence or in the middle, at least the flag is a huge plus.
Well done. How long have you been wanting to say that? Right, lads, while I read out the times for this weekend, have a think about what your predictions for pole, the top three, and a wild shout are. Practice 1 this weekend on Friday at 12:30 UK Ireland time, of course. Practice 2 on Friday at 4 o'clock. Practice 3 will be on Saturday, the 5th of July at 11:30 in the morning, and qualifying will be at 3 p.m. and the race will be at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Nice schedule for this weekend. There's a lot going on. There is also Formula 3 and Formula 2 to enjoy this weekend, and Formula 4, although I don't know if you get that on Sky F1. But if you're going to the race, if you're going to Silverstone this weekend, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, not jealous at all. Third of all, enjoy, because you will have no shortage of incredible racing action to enjoy. There's even an Eddie Jordan tribute on Saturday. And there's a historic car demonstration. Oh my God, I wish I was going to this. Okay, maybe it is worth the money.
So nearly.
Nearly, yeah, nearly. But enjoy it. Race at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Now then, James, pole position, please, and your top three.
I'm gonna go Lando Norris pole. But then top three, I'm going for that old British one. I'm going to go Lando, George, and Lewis for the top three on the Sunday.
And a wild shout out of you, please.
I'm going to go against what I've just said and say Lewis Hamilton wins. I think that's best of both worlds. Do you know what I mean?
You try to have your cake and eat it too. Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
exactly.
Coops, what are your predictions for this weekend's British Grand Prix?
Can I just double check something to write this down? So you had Norris and Paul, James.
Yep.
What was your top three?
Norris, Russell, and Hamilton. But then my bold prediction is going against that and saying Hamilton's going to win. That's why it's bold.
Okay. So Norris, Russell, Hamilton. I don't understand. I don't understand how this works because it's you're losing something to win something else. But there you go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why it's
Okay.
bold.
So,
You gotta think outside the box sometimes.
you know, I mean, but if we looked at Tiller's predictions from Austria, it could go really badly wrong.
It could go really badly wrong. What could happen is that top three could happen. For some reason, Norris and Russell get disqualified. Hamilton wins the race.
That would
That's
be
possible.
unreal. That would be very brave of the stewards to disqualify two British
Yeah,
drivers
true.
in the top two of Silverstone.
The rules are
Do you want
rules.
do you want mine? No.
Yes, please.
Alrighty. So pole position for me will be Piastri, because I want him to spoil the fun. But I think Lando will take the win from Piastri, and then Hamilton will sneak in and get himself on the podium. I think that's pretty much where the Ferraris could go if it's going to go anywhere. My wild card, what will my wild card be? I really don't know. I was going to say Bortoletto points, but that's not really a wild card anymore, though, is it?
Uh,
Let me see. I'm going to go with a double DNF for Red Bull
Oof.
because
ooh,
I
I like
mean,
that.
well, I got 50% of that right in Austria, so let's go. Let's go with it. Right, Sean O'Gallagher.
Right, I'm going to be really boring here. I'm going to say Lando Norris pole position.
Right.
I am going to go with Lando first, Oscar second, and George third. And is my wild prediction is that Yuki Tsunoda outqualifies Max Verstappen.
It's
Just
possible.
yeah, just I've no idea why I think that. Um, but wouldn't that be funny after the weekend he had?
Well, he's now going to be doing a Liam Lawson because Liam Lawson now qualified Max Verstappen.
Yeah, so Max is outqualifiable.
Only if
Um,
Gasly does double 360 spin on the last corner during his final attempt.
which is also possible.
Well, yeah.
That will do it for us previewing the British Grand Prix, which again is this weekend. Final word, lads. Thank you very much for joining me. Are we excited? Looking forward for Britain? Yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Oh, yeah, of
Oh
course. I mean,
yes, yeah.
although I've just spent the first half of this podcast dissing it, I did caveat the fact that the track and the racing is usually pretty good. It's
Yeah.
just the people, the powers that be, that are forcing us to actually pay to watch it.
It certainly is. James, you excited for it as well?
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic, and I've given every single eventuality what could possibly happen. But I think that's the beauty of the British Grand Prix. It's unpredictable, and I think it's going to be another great weekend.
Yeah, I agree. Looking forward to it. We have been Everything F1. Thank you very, very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Everything F1, all one word over there, and be in with your chance to win a Lego F1 Speed Champion set. Thank you to everyone who was listening on YouTube and for getting involved. We've got a couple of comments there. Thank you very much again for listening. Check us out on all socials: Facebook, Instagram, X, and Threads at Join EF1, TikTok at EF1 Official. Check out our website, everythingf1.com, for daily news and articles. As I mentioned, there is a lot of racing action this weekend in Silverstone, and we will have news and updates for every single series this weekend. Also, head over to our fantastic sponsors, theraceworks.com, for all of your F1 and motorsport merch, and use code EF1 at checkout for 10% off site wide. That'll do it for us. We will chat to you next week to review the British Grand Prix, but that'll do it for me. Thank you very much, James.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Coops.
Thank you.
We'll chat to you soon. Bye now.
Bye bye.